Niners fans and Cardinals fans, it's about that time. 7:30 on a Thursday night. Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, J in the Bay. And it's always a pleasure to be on with the best fans in the NFL. Y'all know it. Faithful, the Niner Empire. Always a pleasure to be on with the best fans in the NFL. I'm still feeling good. We got a win last Sunday. It was against the Bears, but you only can beat who's in front of you. So I'm feeling good. I think we're meeting the Cardinals at the right time. But let's say what's up to all the people in the chat. This show is nothing without the interaction from the subscribers, from the Niners fans, from the Cardinals fans. Shout out to everyone watching J in the Bay Facebook, J in the Bay YouTube, J in the Bay Twitter. I will have a guest on with me today. He goes by the Cardinal Rule. All his social media info will be in the description of the video. Make sure you check out his content. Let's see what's up to the people though. First, Kimbo, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Kimbo. Hopefully you're having a good Thursday night. Lennon, what's good? I know you like TCR, the Cardinal Rule. He represents the Cardinals well. I'm glad to see you here tonight, Lennon Wolf. Thanks for tuning in. Sean, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Sean. Hopefully you're having a good Thursday night. Everybody, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already to Jay in the Bay. What's good to David? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. I appreciate that. Enjoy my world. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. I will continue on saying what's up to everybody. But first, let's bring our guests on. He is the Cardinal Rule. He talks, of course, everything Arizona Cardinals. He has gained a lot of subscribers in a short amount of time. It's always good to see someone talk about their passion, and a lot of people are vibing with the Cardinal Rule. So let's bring on the Cardinal Rule. What's good?
What's good, man? I am so happy to be hanging out with you again. Had a great time last time. Your subscribers are really fortunate. You're a good dude, and I'm just really happy to hang out with you again.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. It's good to see your channel grow, man. I believe you're at 1.8 subscribers, man. That's incredible, man. That's incredible in such a short amount of time. I enjoy your content.
Thank you.
I didn't watch anything this past week because I wanted to hear from you first. I wanted to hear it for the first time. I didn't want to cheat. So it's good to have you on. And make sure everyone check out the Cardinal Rule. All his social media info is in the description of this video. He's got IG, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you check him out. Shout out to everyone in the chat tonight. But first, let's start off with, the Cardinals and Packers. They were playing in that Thursday night game. And I was surprised. That the Cardinals did not win that game. The Packers obviously were without Devontae Adams, Lazard. I was surprised. But we will get into the reasons why they lost. But what were your thoughts on the last play of the game when Kyler threw that INT to the Packers cornerback? What were your thoughts on that?
My thoughts were that hurt, but in terms of what happened, at first glance, you're like, what is going on here? And when you look at the play again, it looks like AJ Green was trying to run block, and the coach Kingsbury has not been very forthcoming on exactly what happened. And I think he's trying to protect whoever was at fault. He's just trying to, kind of protect them. And I get that, right? That's what a good coach will do for his players. What it sounds like, the best I can tell is, the Cardinals, they have a lot of adjustments and option routes and a lot of things like they change at the line of scrimmage. And Brett Coleman did a great video on the Cardinals offense and talks about this a lot, how so much of their offense, it's not a ton of different plays, but they have all these variations within them. And so I think what happened is they called an adjustment, is what it sounds like, is they called an adjustment, and AJ Green and Kyler Murray were not on the same page. AJ Green thought it was a different play, and he didn't do what Kyler expected. and we saw what happened. So, it's tough because like AJ Green took a lot of heat for that, and I get that, but mistakes like that happen throughout a game a lot. We just, sometimes we don't see him because it's a receiver who doesn't get thrown, the ball doesn't get thrown to him. But, there's little mistakes all the time, but it happened at the worst time with the game on the line on the guy who got it thrown to. So I feel bad. I'm sure AJ Green feels worse about this than anyone else, but it was rough. You looked at it like the Cardinals had this goal line stand. We thought they were going to lose, get the ball back. They drive down like, oh my God, they're going to pull it off. They're going to win. They're going 8-0. And then you see the interception. You're like, your heart sinks, right? So, but I will tell you one thing I want to say about that is you just have to take those wins, because earlier this season in week 2, the Cardinals won a game where the Vikings missed a field goal that was like 30 something yards. Right. And a lot of people been coming at the Cardinals. Oh, you should have lost that game. That's you didn't deserve to win that game. And my take is, you know what? Every team has games like this. You win and lose some. So I got to take that L from the Packers and say the Packers won the game, just like we take that W against Minnesota and say the Cardinals won the game, right? You take the wins, you take the losses. Games end that way for you and against you, and you just got to take them both.
No, I agree. That's a great answer. Sometimes some plays just don't go your way. Yeah. And as you illustrated, sometimes that happens. But yeah, as a 49er fan, I was surprised, but happy that, finally you guys have lost the game. Hopefully that trend will continue this Sunday. But yeah, that was an interesting game for sure. I think obviously you guys did lose, but I think what came out that was worse was Kyler Murray's injury. And what are your thoughts on that? For those that don't know, he did sprain his ankle. He could be out anywhere between 1 to 3 weeks, and he has not yet practiced so far this week. What are your thoughts on Kyler?
I think there's a good chance he plays. The coach has been saying he doesn't need to practice in order to play. And the most recent report seems to suggest, I think there's a chance he plays. It's not for certain. I wouldn't hate it if they rested him and, had Colt McCoy start and to try to let him get healthy. But I think there's a decent chance he plays. But if he does, they're going to have to protect him. And I know we'll probably get into that a little bit more later. But his leg, it's a leg injury. So, his mobility is affected. So you can't have him running around everywhere trying to buy time, on those 3rd and longs. So we'll see. But if they can keep him in short yardage situations, not give him in 3rd and longs, he can get the ball out quickly and do what he needs to do. The problem is when he's in those 3rd and longs and has to run around, he's not going to be able to do that this time.
Yeah. And, I'm looking forward to seeing Colt McCoy under center for 99% of the snaps. I'm definitely down for that. Unfortunately for Kyler, as you mentioned, his mobility would be affected greatly with that sprained ankle. And, there's no doubt he can throw the ball with the best of them, but that's part of what makes him great is his mobility, the ability to escape out of the pocket, make plays with his legs. And as you mentioned, it might be best just to rest Kyler. I know no team wants to lose 2 straight, but there's no guarantee. Colt McCoy, he's been a backup for a majority of his career. But you never know, any given Sunday, but we'll see, because it seems like Kyler Murray will be a game time decision. And it seems like the same for DeAndre Hopkins as well, who's nursing his hamstring injury. And we know hamstring injuries, they don't get well while you're still trying to come back. Usually you just have to rest and not do anything for that hamstring injury to get better. But even if Hopkins plays, I don't think he'll be that effective, at least with his speed. So, we'll see, because he didn't play that many snaps last week, right?
Didn't. He had that one big play, but it's funny. He kept putting himself back in the game, and coach was like, "Get out of the game!" Like right. They didn't want him back in, but he's such a gamer. He kept kind of running out there. But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins is arguably the best receiver in the league, certainly in the top 3, I think, undeniably. But our receiving core is so deep this year, and the Cardinals have been spreading it around. Like they haven't been just zeroing in on Hopkins. So you want Hopkins in there, but I'm not like if Hopkins has to sit out, I'm not worried about that too much because they've just been spreading around with guys like Ertz, and now AJ Green is going to be out. He's on the COVID list, so that does add another wrinkle to that. But I'm obviously it's Kyler that you're more concerned about if he's going to play or not.
Yeah. And I will talk about the rest of you guys' receivers in a second, but I gotta say, what's good to Redder4? Thanks for tuning into the stream. What's good to Jan? Hopefully you having an excellent Thursday night. KD is in the building. What's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream, man. Kimbo, you were the first comment of the day. He says, let's go 49ers fan. Absolutely, man. Make sure you leave a thumbs up for the video. And I appreciate it if you let YouTube and I know that you're enjoying the stream. But let's go Niners, of course. Niners sickness. What's good? Thanks for tuning into the stream. He says, hello, everyone. You done a collab with Niners sickness, right?
I did, yeah. Nice, and we had a nice long conversation after. Beto's a good dude. I really enjoyed hanging out with him, too.
Nice. Yeah, Niners sickness, good dude. He's seen the Niners since the 70s up until now. He knows a lot of Niner history. Shout out to Niners sickness. CG Ruthless, and another YouTube content creator who talks about the Niners. What's good? Thanks for tuning in, CG Ruthless Sports. Now, you mentioned that Kyler has been spreading the ball around. Obviously, you guys picked up Zach Ertz. I think that was a hell of a move to pick up. Zach Ertz. He's still a playmaker at the tight end position. You still also have Christian Kirk. I believe you have Rondale Moore and. Is there someone else?
Hopkins, AJ Green is going to be out.
Right.
So then the other two guys on the depth chart are Antoine Wesley, who's kind of a practice squad kind of guy, and then Andy Isabella, who hasn't seen the field other than special teams this year.
He might get in this Sunday.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I think Wesley is going to see more snaps. He's kind of the backup for AJ Green, who's going to be out. But if Hopkins doesn't go, though, we'll see both of them, and might even see them elevate someone off the practice squad if a couple guys if Hopkins has to sit out.
All right, and so what do you think after watching the game? Do you watch the all 22? Or you just watch the game, or
I have access to it, and when I need to, I look at it. But what I usually watch, I subscribe to the Game Pass, so I usually watch the condensed version replay that's like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah. And based on you watching that game, what were three of the most largest reasons you thought the Cardinals lost that game?
Well, I think the first reason has to do with Rodney, Hudson, and his backup Max Garcia both being injured. Hudson, is such a huge part of that interior offensive line, making the adjustments and everything. And his backup Max Garcia wasn't playing great, but he was injured too. So they were up to the third string, Sean Harlow. So, interior pass rush was able to get to Kyle a little bit. There was another bad snap. So, force a lot of disruptions to that offense. And just with Hudson out, just the Cardinals can't get those drives sustained like they can when he's in there and protecting Kyler. So that was one of the things. Obviously the miscue between Kyler and Green, you have to look at that. I mean, just that one play, if it had gone differently, heck, even if it was just not an interception, the Cardinals had a chance to kick a field goal and tie it. So you have to have that miscue. But the third part was Green Bay had a good game plan. They ran the ball, which the Cardinals run defense is one of their biggest weaknesses. In fact, I just did a video about the Cardinals run defense, so definitely recommend people check it out. Did a deep dive, stats, film, and everything. But they ran the ball a lot. They played it safe in the passing game. Aaron Rodgers did not go crazy throwing the ball around the yard. He didn't put that ball in harm's way. They made throws when they need to, but he didn't throw for a lot of yards. He was efficient, kept it safe. They ran the ball more, and then they just kind of forced a couple turnovers. And, I think last time we were together, I talked about that's actually the game plan. I said if the Niners before they played last time, I said the script for the Niners to win is to run it a lot, keep it close, and force some turnovers. And they almost did that, right? It was close. And Green Bay did that. So to me, that good game plan, the right game plan for beating the Cardinals Now if you do that, you do have to rely on the Cardinals making some turnovers, because other teams have run the ball, but when the Cardinals get ahead of them, like the Rams game, right? And I want to say hey to Peo Time, a Rams fan, so who's here too. When the Cardinals got ahead of the Rams, they couldn't keep running, right? But yeah, that game plan I think was the biggest thing though. They kept it close, ran it, and didn't turn over the ball.
No, that's excellent points. And then another thing I would say was I noticed that the Packers had the ball for 37 minutes to the Cardinals 22 minutes. That's a huge discrepancy. 15 minutes. Also, the Packers had 2 extra possessions that was due to the turnovers. But yeah, that should be the 49ers game plan this Sunday. Run the hell out of the ball. The Packers did that well. I think we'll do that well against you guys. We did pretty good last week. Elijah Mitchell, hell of a steal in the draft, 6th-round draft pick. He had another 100-yard rushing game. We're also getting Jeff Wilson Jr. back this week. Hopefully he'll play. He's practicing now, but we'll see if he plays. But yeah, I think that's the formula to beat the Cardinals. And you mentioned the turnovers. The Cardinals had 2 turnovers last week.
Yeah.
And the 49ers, we hopefully we're on a trend now where we're forcing turnovers on defense. We've done that the last few times in a few games. So hopefully that trend continues. But first, I gotta say, huge shout out to Blue True, $49 super chat. What's good? I appreciate that, Blue True. Blue True says, "Go Niners! Thanks at J and the Bay for always being so welcoming to your guests and chat." I appreciate that, Blue True. Shout out, $49 super chat for the 49ers. Of course, I see you. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's going to be a great game this Sunday for sure. I think it's going to come down to whoever wins that turnover battle. Jimmy has thrown INTs. We've seen Kyler throw INTs as well. Colt McCoy, if he starts, I'm hoping we'll see Colt. Hey, he hasn't started a game since 2020 with the Giants, so it's been a long time. But I think the Cardinals, and a question I wanted to ask you, was the running game for the Cardinals. The Packers run D isn't great. It's average, but you guys only rushed for 70 yards. And I don't think the yards were much of a concern. It was the amount of times you guys ran the ball. It seemed like you guys went away from running the ball. Did you notice that as well?
Well, it's really a game script kind of thing, because when you watch the Cardinals games, what you see is actually most of their rushing yards, or a lot of them, have come once they've got a lead. Most of the rush, or a lot of their big chunks of rushing yards, have come when they got up on a team and it was in like the 3rd and 4th quarter, and they were kind of chewing the clock. They actually, in my opinion, I do wish they would run the ball more on 1st and 2nd down than they have, because what I keep talking about, and this is their biggest kind of issue, I think, offensively, is between false starts, bad snaps, and then pass plays that don't go well because of pressure. They're getting into a lot of 2nd and longs and 3rd and longs. And I'd like to see them run the ball more on those early downs to get into 2nd and 7 and 3rd and 3, right? So that Kyler doesn't have to run around like crazy to make the play. But I wasn't surprised, because the Cardinals were behind and playing catch up the whole game, so they weren't in a game script where you would expect them to run the ball, which is again when they're trying to seal the deal.
Yeah, because that's unfortunate for the Cards, because they do have one of the top rushing attacks in the league, and to see them kind of go away from that, it was kind of surprising, because that's one of the things they do best, and especially with the hobbled DeAndre Hopkins, and the Niners, our run D is not great as well. I think we're kind of similar in the pack as far as the run defense for both our defenses. So I would expect the Cardinals to go back to running the ball. And we've struggled against that, running the ball this year, especially with Javon Kinlaw being out for the rest of the year. He's our big defensive tackle. But yeah, we're definitely, both teams will definitely have to do much better in the run defense department.
The reason we're so used to seeing the Cardinals run the ball, and I know this is going to sound cocky, but we're so used to seeing them ahead in the game. I mean, they've been up in most. I mean, they've had a hell of a year, right? And the Niners game was one where it was tight, and the Packers they were playing from behind. So again, it comes back to that game script. I think is so much of it with the Cardinals, because if they aren't ahead, they're passing more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get the Cardinals to be one-dimensional on offense. just throwing the ball. That sounds good to me, because I'm more concerned about our run defense than our secondary right now. But I gotta say, what's good to Rams House, and what's good to Payo Time, 2 Rams YouTubers. Shout out to you guys. Obviously, we play the Rams after we play the Cardinals, so that'll be an interesting week for sure. Niners Sickness says, "What's up, Joseph? How you doing, my friend?"
Good, man. Good to see you, Beto.
And the Soapbox Podcast Show, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He says, "Jay, hot show fam." Jamar, what's good? Go Niners, absolutely. David Lopez, thanks for tuning in to the stream. What's good? He says, "Let's go, Jay." And I appreciate all the love, and I appreciate you supporting the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel, man. I appreciate that. If Kyler does play, do you think he'll be effective enough to win against the Niners on Sunday?
I think he can if they do what they need to do to protect him.
Okay.
Again, if he's running for his life, if he's trying to extend plays to convert 3rd and longs, it's going to be rough. But if they run the ball early, if having Rodney Hudson back means that they're able to protect him better, and they're able to get situations where instead of trying to convert a 3rd and 16, he's converting a 3rd and 5, right? And he can get that ball out quickly. I think this offense, is explosive enough. I think there's enough players on the defense who can make plays. I like our chances if he's healthy, and I think we have a chance if he isn't. It's tougher if he isn't. We got to have the right game plan. But I mean, obviously it's the any given Sunday thing, right? That anything can happen. But I do think we have a chance either way. But it's going to be tougher without him, obviously.
Is Rodney Hudson practicing?
So he was activated from the IR this week. I don't know if he practiced today. So I didn't look at the practice report before we jumped in here, but he was activated off the IR. So hopefully we'll be getting him back.
Yeah, that's usually a good sign, especially like the 3-week IR. Kittle was activated off of that. Jeff Wilson Jr., Robbie Gould. So it seems like at least the trend has been if they're activated off of the 3-week IR and they're practicing every day, usually they'll be ready for game day. So we shall see. Lennon Wolf, Rise Up Red Sea. I appreciate you tuning in to the stream, Lennon. Make sure you subscribe to the Cardinal Rule on YouTube. All his social media info is in the link, is in the description of the video. So make sure you subscribe. CG Ruthless says, "I assume Murray played less than 100%. I believe he will play likely." Well, I think he was, at least he didn't have the ankle injury entering the game. It seemed like he got hurt like the last few plays.
On that last drive, yeah.
Last drive,
yeah. It kind of got rolled up on there near the end of the game.
Yeah, and to answer Niner Sickness question, Murray is basically a game time decision. He has not practiced yet this week. I don't anticipate he'll practice at all. And they'll probably shoot his ankle up and hope for the best. And he'll basically be a game time decision. And I hear AJ Green is vaccinated, so I believe he has to test negative the next 2 days in order for him to have a chance to play. But I guess we'll see.
A while back they said that they had 100% vaccination rate on amongst the players.
Nice.
So the assumption is, assuming that's true, and he didn't pull an Aaron Rodgers situation, right, with lying about it, which I don't think he did. So they have to have 2 negative tests that are at least 24 hours apart. But he is on that COVID reserve list, so who knows? I kind of have to probably plan for him not to play, and if he does, it's a bonus. We shall see if he plays. Looking forward to that. Mark Jackson, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. He is a Arizona Cardinals fan, man. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe to the Cardinal Rule. He's subscribed, and he's a channel member and a supporter, as is Lennon. So they're both really great supporters of the channel.
All right. And Payo Time says, hoping the Niners and Cards tie and Seahawks lose, and of course the Rams win in prime time. Of course, Payo Time. I expect nothing less.
And JP said that Hudson practiced. JP is another one of the my channel subscribers and members, and good source. He follows the Cardinals closely. So
Hey, that's a good sign
Yeah.
for the Cardinals. We've seen from a Niners perspective, we've seen what having instability at the center position, what that does to the offensive line and the quarterback. And you got to have a stable center. I know Alex Mack, he's not an all-pro center anymore, but the fact that he's healthy, he's played every game. I think he has helped stabilize that line, but he can only do so much. And I think we've seen that with the 3-4 record. But it's good to have continuity and stability at that center position. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Luke Luna, what's good? He says, you know what it is. Niner game to split, baby. Okay. That's what I'm thinking too. If we could beat Arizona, lose the Rams, I don't know. The Rams are looking pretty good. And we will talk about the Von Miller acquisition later on in the show. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. Now, speaking about the game on Sunday, who do you think will be the most impactful offensive Cardinals player on Sunday?
So I'm going to give you like the player that I think is most important is Rodney Hudson because keeping everything going. But I'm going to give you a playmaker in addition to that.
Okay.
And I'm going to say James Conner because I want to see the Cardinals run the ball more. Like I said earlier, set up short third down conversions instead of long third down conversions. And James Conner, I think, has been our most effective runner. Edmonds has been good, but he's a little banged up. So I'd like to see it be James Conner because that means the Cardinals are running the ball and then making it a little bit easier on Kyler or Colt if Colt's starting.
Okay. Yeah. Especially if Colt McCoy is starting, you got a career backup playing in his first game since 2020. I would imagine the Cardinals would want to run the ball. And the 49ers, we struggle at that. Both teams do. So it'll be interesting to see what gives. Which defense will be able to make the most stops, which defense will be better on third down. So that'll be very, very interesting to see. The Cardinals do have, you guys got a good, two backs behind there with Connor and Edmonds. Those are two pretty good running backs. That's why you guys have one of the best running games in the NFL. So the 49ers, we're going to have to play better than we have against the run. That's for sure. SG Sports Talk channel. What's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Hopefully you're having an excellent Thursday night. For our offense, I don't know if you've heard of this guy, but when he's around, you definitely have to tuck in your chain. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's Deebo Samuel.
Who? That's kidding. Yeah, he's been a beast this year, man.
Yeah, he's having an outstanding year. It seems like he's a mismatch nightmare for defenses. Also with Kyle Shanahan, I know people question his play calling, but there's no doubt he's a great play designer. He gets guys open. Jimmy G opened up a little bit against Chicago. He actually threw a deep pass, which was nice to see. Yeah, I know, right? We were actually aggressive offensively, and I think that's how we need to play. But who do you think? I didn't ask you this before the show, but are you concerned about Deebo, or do you think you have an answer for him in the Card secondary?
I mean, the Cardinals' defense has been pretty good against the pass, and Byron Murphy Jr. has played better this year, and Robert Alford has quietly been very good this year for us. I don't necessarily think that they're going to shut him down completely. What the Cardinals have been doing throughout the year is most of the top receivers have maybe gotten like 50 or 60 yards and a touchdown, right? They've gotten a little bit, but no receiver thus far, knock on wood, has totally just blown up against the Cardinals, right? They've done a pretty good job. It's the running games that have been beating us up. So obviously, watch me say this, and then they give up 232 yards and 3 scores or something. But but thus far, the Cardinals have done a pretty good job of, I'm not going to say shutting down receivers, but kind of containing them a little bit.
No, I can dig it. And, Ayuk, he had a pretty good game last week. George Kittle, he's been lifted off of the IR. He has been practicing this week. So hopefully we see a return of George Kittle. And I think that'll definitely help the offense. We're also getting, as I mentioned before, Jeff Wilson Jr. back. I feel like we're playing the Cardinals again. We're meeting you guys at a perfect time for us. We're getting players back. Unfortunately, the Cardinals have suffered some injuries. So it'll be interesting to see which team executes. That's what's going to come down to. But I like our chances. I like our offensive weapons. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, who do you think will be the most impactful Cardinals defensive player on Sunday?
I'm going to go with Isaiah Simmons. He's been all over the field, and you all remember him from our last meeting. He had a nice little unscheduled meeting with Trey Lance at the goal line. And he made a hell of a play that was key to the Cardinals win. And, I know Kittle is recently activated, and I don't know, maybe you can tell me how certain it is he's going to be back. But if Kittle's back, Simmons is one of our key guys in defending tight ends. And I think in terms of skill set, I think Isaiah Simmons has arguably one of the best skill sets to cover tight ends in terms of he's big, he's fast, he played safety, but plays like a linebacker. So I think, his ability to be all over the place, make plays both against the run and, cover a tight end, especially if Kittle's healthy, is going to be vital for the Cardinals defense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that matchup. I think Kittle is a matchup nightmare. I know Simmons is very athletically gifted. He can run with the best of them at the linebacker position. But and as far as Kittle's playing on this Sunday, it's not 100%, but he is practicing. So if I had to bet, I would say he would play. I don't know if he'll play 100% of the snaps, but Charlie Warner, he's looked solid. And he's been starting because Kittle has, he's been hurt with the calf strain. But that'll be interesting to see, Kittle going up against whether it's, Buda Baker, whether it's Isaiah Simmons. That'll be an interesting matchup. But I like Kittle's chances in that matchup. But we'll see. We'll see. I know you're rooting for your guy.
I'll tell you, though, Cardinals have been one of the best teams defending the tight end this year, actually. Just the stats, tight ends have not done a lot against the Cardinals. Now, Kittle's at, not just any tight end, but it'll be definitely an interesting matchup, right? Strength against strength.
Absolutely, yeah. Strength against strength, exactly. And my defensive player that I like on Sunday, I mean, it starts and kind of ends with Nick Bosa. The game started in the trenches. He's having an excellent year this year. And if it's Colt McCoy who's back there, man, I don't remember Colt McCoy being too mobile. So he's going to have to get rid of the ball pretty quickly. And when he does, he's got to look out for number 54, the best linebacker in the NFL, and Fred Warner. Looking forward to that matchup. And hey, our secondary last week did not commit any defensive penalties. So that's a plus. So hopefully that will continue. Hopefully that will continue, man. So the first meeting between the Niners and Cardinals, we rushed for about 152 yards. Has the Cardinals run D got better?
The short answer is not really. Now, most of that was Trey Lance, right?
Right.
But the running backs did run effectively when they ran the ball. In fact, once again, I'm going to pitch. If you haven't checked it out, I just posted a video just over a day ago that went in a deep analysis of the run game, and I talk about that Niners game. But like the Cardinals' run defense, I mean, it's part that they aren't great against the run, but part of it is also by design, like what by scheme, like. They play a lot of light boxes, like 6 men in the box. And when they go 8 men in the box, they're actually really good. Like I looked at every play and kind of looked at how many players they had in the box and then analyzed the data. And when they have like 6 men in the box, they give up like over 6 yards a carry. But when they have 8 men in the box, the Cardinals run defense is giving up 1.7 yards per carry. So like, they can be good when they stack the box, but obviously you can't do that every play because then teams are going to pass all over you. So, the short answer is not really, but it is a little complicated. Some of it is like they ran like 45% of the time against the Niners when, at least on running plays by running backs, they had 8 men in the box. But the Niners still managed to run reasonably well on them because Shanahan's really good at scheming up the run blocking. So, I mean, I anticipate, especially with J.J. Watt likely out for, there's still uncertainty if he's gone for the year, but I think he probably is. Missing J.J. Watt makes it even worse. So I have a feeling the Niners running game is going to be a big piece of this game. I mean, it's going to play a role in this game. whether you win or not, it's going to have a major role in the game.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And last week, when the 49ers played the Bears, they did something a little bit different. They kind of came out 4 or 5 wide receiver sets, and Jimmy was throwing the ball. And it seemed like they were throwing to set up the run, which usually they run first to set up the pass. So it'd be interesting to see what Shanahan decides to do this week against the Cardinals defense. We know they're not a great run team. So, as you mentioned, we already know we're going to expect a lot of running plays from the 49ers. Luke Luna has a question for the Cardinal Rule. He says, do you think we split? He says, I think we split whether Kyler plays or not.
I mean, I like the Cardinals' chances, but I don't feel as confident as I did last time. It's tough. I mean, I really could see going. I'm going to say no. I think the Cardinals win, and I know we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But it wouldn't shock me, obviously, especially with the injuries. But at the same time, I mean, this Cardinals offense has so many weapons, and the defense has done a good job, forcing turnovers and finding a way to win. And there's only been a couple games this season where they didn't score 30 points. Last one was against the Niners, but
it was only 17 points.
Yeah, but is that going to happen again? I mean, maybe,
Absolutely.
But. Yeah, right. But you can't bank on things. You know how it is though. When teams play back, twice in a year, those games often look very different, right? Yeah. They don't play out the same way most of the time. So, but it could be. But I'm going to say no because I got to. Right, I'm a Cardinals fan.
Of course. And two things that would be much different. Last time when we played, our starting safeties were Jaquiski Tart and Jimmy Ward. Both of those guys will be out.
Okay.
And so it'll be Tavon Wilson and Talanoa Hufanga. And Hufanga is a rookie. We drafted him this year in the 5th round. So that'll be interesting because you used to have 2 crafty vets. Right. You know the scheme, they know the team, and now they'll be out. And the Bears didn't really throw deep. So the safeties weren't tested last week. It'll be interesting to see whoever's at quarterback, will they test the coverage of the safeties? Because I think that'll be something to key on as well, because there's got to be some type of, drop off, right? I mean,
yeah,
2
you think
safeties, yeah, and then you have a rookie in there, so that could play factor in as well. Now you mentioned Trey Lance, so obviously that was his first start last week.
Yeah.
And it seems like, we're getting this week the return of Jimmy Garoppolo. He had a hell of a game last week, played in front of 100 of his friends and family because he's from the Chicago area. He had the best game of the season, I think. Going into Chicago, throwing for over 300 yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He was just running all over defenders against the Chicago Bears. So, who would you rather play, Trey Lance or Jimmy G?
That's a tough one. Probably still Trey Lance. I mean, he's got the better upside, but he's still a rookie.
Right.
And he had to run a lot, right, in that last game. And, if the Cardinals, and really, again, the Cardinals offense is not usually held to 17 points. So, if the Cardinals offense were just a little bit more on, it could have been a blowout, right? But it wasn't, obviously. Yeah. Even though he ran all over the place, the Niners didn't put up many points, right, with him. So Jimmy G, I'm not a big believer in Jimmy G, and I know a lot of Niners fans aren't either. What? I know. But he's a veteran, right? And he knows what he's doing. So I think I'd rather play against a rookie who's more likely to make some mistakes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we know Jimmy, he can make mistakes as well. But last week he played a pretty good game. His completion percentage could have been better, but there were a few drops early on in the game. But one could argue that, hey, for this game, for the experience level, Jimmy G could be the best option under center against this Cards defense. But, we'll see on Sunday. Shout out to Livy's World. What's good? Livy's World says, what's good, Jay and the Cardinal Rule. Thanks for tuning in to the stream, Livy. I appreciate your Niner sickness. He says, everyone, please do me a favor and slap that like button for your boy, Jay in the Bay. I appreciate that Niner sickness. Sean says this is a revenge game. Absolutely. 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 And shout out to you, Mark Jackson. I appreciate that. Let's see. And Jan confirmed Hudson has practice. I think that's the second person who said in the chat
that
Hudson
was the person I mentioned. Did
has practice. Yep.
Yeah.
So
JP.
That's good for the Cardinals. Good for the Cardinals. Brett, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. Caden Jenkins, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream, man. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday night. And now it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Obviously, we're both rooting for our own team, but who's going to win on Sunday and why? And I want to know the reasons. Give me like 3 reasons why you think the Cardinals have an advantage on Sunday.
I think they have an advantage because this offense has so many playmakers all over the place. And the Niners thus far have had really kind of 2 reliable offensive pieces thus far. It's been Elijah Mitchell, right? And then, Deebo Samuel, right? And though that's that, when it comes to passing game, they haven't had a lot of other guys they could rely on consistently, right? It's whoever's running the ball and Deebo Samuel. And the Cardinals have a lot more weapons, right? I mean, obviously, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, AJ Green will likely be out, but still, Zach Ertz. And then our 2 running backs, Chase Edmonds is a threat to catch the ball in the backfield. They can run the ball. And our defense is opportunistic. They force turnovers, and they've actually been one of the top overall defenses in the NFL this year, even though they've struggled against the run. So I don't think the Niners are gonna hold the Cardinals offense in check for 2 games. I think that they did a good job last game. I don't think they're going to do it again. So that's my reason, my rationale, and I'm sticking to it until it doesn't happen.
Well, of course. And what score? What do you predict as the score?
I'm going to say 27-14.
27, 2 touchdowns. Wow.
Listen, I got to rep my team, man.
Is this if Kyler? Is this if Colt?
That's Kyler.
If Kyler, so if Colt plays, which is high probability,
21,
very likely
21-17.
Okay, so you have a backup quarterback who hasn't played since 2020, playing against one of the better defenses in the NFL.
Colt McCoy's one of the better backups. He's been a starter in the past. He's not a starting. He shouldn't be a starter in the NFL, but He started games in the NFL. He's done a decent job when he's been called on. He's got a lot of weapons. Yeah. If they do the right game plan where he's not having to throw it deep, and when he's just got to get it to Rondale Moore or Christian Kirk and let them do the rest, So, so yeah, Pinor, my buddy, first time he's disappointed in me. Why are you disappointed in me, Pinor?
So yeah, it's like Pinor said. That's pretty good. Corey Davis has the Niners winning 27-17. Okay. I'm going to give you my reasons why. Now, There's no doubt on paper, the Cardinals have weapons offensively. They have defensive playmakers as well. But let's be real. They're hobbled. Even if DeAndre Hopkins plays, I'm not really worried about him. I don't think he'll be able to play majority of the snaps. He's battling that hamstring injury. Christian Kirk, I think he's a good receiver. Rondale Moore, they're pretty good. I think we'll have to worry about their speed. We definitely can't let them get behind us. That's for sure. I'm most concerned about the running game and probably Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz, he still is a playmaker at the tight end position, but we got Fred Warner. I think he can take on Zach Ertz. I don't think Zach Ertz is a better receiver than Fred Warner is in covering tight ends. I want Zach Ertz to prove me wrong on that, but I think we have a good advantage. I think we match up well. Strength against strength, right? Yep. I think it's the running game against the 49ers defense. That's what's going to, I think, be the deciding factor. And if Colt McCoy does start, I think he can still make some throws, but hopefully we can get a turnover or 2 on him, and I think that will bode well for this 49ers defense. But I think the Niners are on a high from last week, beating the Chicago Bears on the road. No road games are easy, especially when a West Coast team flies to the East Coast. That's tough in itself. The Niners were on a 4-game losing streak. And let's be real, that first half was close, right? First half was really close. and the 49ers continue to play. You know, it's a full 60-minute game. But I like our running game against the Cardinals defense. I think we should be able to run the ball. Elijah Mitchell is balling out. Now, Elijah Mitchell, he has not practiced this week. He does have a rib injury, but he is expected to play. So we'll see. But we are getting, you know, Elijah Mitchell should play. Jeff Wilson Jr. should play. Also, Jermichael Hasty should play. So I'm confident in the running game. And also, Jimmy G played his best game last week. He was throwing the ball to different receivers. Mohamed Sanu, the backup tight end. The Ayuk show. Brandon Ayuk had his best game of the year last week. So the Niners have weapons too. I would even say it's kind of even, I think, offensively, due to DeAndre Hopkins being hobbled with that hamstring. AJ Green might not play due to COVID. So honestly, this game is really up in the air. But, you know, the 49ers are at home. I think we'll get our first home win this year. And I got the Niners winning. I know you're surprised by this.
Right. Didn't see that coming.
I got the Niners winning 24-14.
All right.
So
okay. I mean, you know, you never know, right? I mean,
you never know.
Just things don't go to script, you know, a lot of times. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's you know, it is kind of a toss-up because 49ers have been inconsistent so far this year. I don't know really which team is going to come to play, but if we play like we did last week in the second half, if we bring that to a full 60 minutes, I like our chances a lot better. And of course, turnovers will be a key for both teams, obviously. So Redder 4, he has a question for you. He says, is Buda Baker a top 3 or top 5 safety in the NFL? If so, why?
Yeah, I think he's definitely a top 5 and probably a top 3. You know, he's decent in coverage, but his strength, he's really good against the run. He's really good at breaking up plays. He's rangy. He just makes plays. You know, he's intense. He's all over the field. You know, and I think it's been nice to see him get some of his, you know, the respect that he deserves over the last season or so. People are starting to recognize how good he is. So I think he is altogether because of the all-around game he plays, his skill set and what he does. He's not one-dimensional as a safety. You know, he kind of does it all.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see the matchup. Buda Baker, I think he is one of the better safeties in the league. There's no doubt, and I'm looking forward to that matchup. Whether it's him or Isaiah Simmons against Kittle, that'd be an interesting matchup. Strength against strength. Luke Luna says, just know that we have our starting quarterback, which means we will have our starting offense, and we will have Kittle back in this game as well. The run game looking much better as well, but we're hurting at DB.
Yeah,
I believe Kittle, he didn't play against the Cardinals.
He didn't.
I don't think. Yeah, so Kittle was out, but also we're missing our 2 starting safeties who played in the first game. So it's like, you know, what gives?
Yeah.
Luke Luna also says, I'm excited for this Cardinals game. I just want to see what we do with this momentum, how BA continues to ascend from his last game. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see if we can still have a similar game plan that we had last week against the Bears versus the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals defense is probably, they're probably better than the Bears, I would say. Especially when the Bears didn't have Mac.
If you look at it, the Cardinals defense is actually one of the better defenses in the league, sneakily, right? I think they're in the top 5 in terms of yards. They're better against the pass, obviously, but they've been and I'll tell you what, and I talk about this in my video about the run game. Although the Cardinals have given up a lot of yards, they've only given up 4 rushing touchdowns this year. And that's one of the better in the league. And they're also they're like second in third down conversions in terms of stopping third down conversions and first in terms of stopping fourth down conversions. So they give up yards against the run, but like when it comes to goal line and third and fourth downs, they get stingy. So the Cardinals defense is a lot better than people think.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Their defense is pretty good. Obviously, it's not perfect, just like the Niners. I think the Niners surprisingly have been pretty good with our pass coverage, but just the run defense has been lacking. For whatever reason, Javon Kinlaw not being, he's been in and out of the lineup. That definitely hasn't helped. So I think that's definitely part of the reason. Jamar Hall has the 49ers winning 28-17. Mark Jackson, he's got the Cards winning 27-21. He says we have Vance Joseph as our DC, and he can get me to play good D. I'm old and fat. Okay. Luke Luna says this is a tough game to call score-wise, but I know for big facts we score more than 10 and have a feeling you guys may score more than 17. Could be close, 27-23 or 23-29ers. Yeah, I can see that. I think it all depends, if Colt McCoy, who knows? He could be serviceable or he could be terrible. No one really knows. But I would assume he's taking all the first-team reps this week, right?
Yeah, I imagine so because Kyler hasn't practiced. So.
Right. Pioneer says Buda Baker and Jesse Bates are the most underrated safeties. Okay. Pioneer says Jimmy starting gives you guys a chance. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. I mean, some could say that, obviously Trey has the more upside, of course, and he's the better long term. But it seemed like there was definitely a different game plan. Jimmy didn't trust Trey with the playbook. I think that's why he had so many runs, which obviously a lot of fans disagree with. But with Jimmy back there, hey, we actually threw the ball a lot, at least against Chicago. So, looks like we got David Renteria in the building. What's
bringing the fire.
He says Niners ain't winning. He's got the Cardinals winning 30-17. And it's funny because I mean, I know he's aware of Kyler Murray being hurt, and that's a huge disadvantage. Plus DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green, JJ Watt not being there in the middle anymore. Like I think those are huge losses. So we'll see. I'm very excited for the game. I can't wait. But let's see. I think did I have any more? Oh yeah, we got to talk about the crazy, insane trade that the Rams pulled off. They acquired Von Miller. What did you think of that move?
Well, I mean, it's part of this NFC West arms race, right? You all made a move too to pick up the guy from Houston, right? The defensive lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows. In one regard, it shows me that they're respecting the Cardinals as a threat to win the division, right? Because they know they got to bring in talent. It also shows me that the Rams really don't believe in the NFL draft. They just keep trading away all their picks, right?
Yeah.
He's obviously, Von Miller's been a great pass rusher throughout his career. He is getting up there in age, but pass rushers can continue to be productive late, well into their 30s. So it makes the Rams that much tougher. And obviously, getting at Kyler is a key, one of the ways to stop the Cardinals offense. So it just makes this division that much more competitive. And I think it is going to be a dogfight down to week 17 between the Cardinals and Rams. So, it is a good move for them in the short term. I'm a big believer in the draft, so I don't like trading away, picks for guys that are, that late in their career like that. Yeah. But I mean, it makes it that much tougher, right?
Absolutely. And I think they gave up a lot. It was a second and third pick, but as you mentioned, the Rams really don't value their draft picks. But looking at Von Miller's stats, I mean, he has 19 tackles this year. He's got 4.5 sacks. He hasn't had a sack since October 3rd. How productive is he? But he is now coming onto a team with Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd. So he might be a little bit more productive, but it wasn't like he was blowing anyone's socks off with his stats so far this year. But hey, they definitely got better. There's no doubt about that. They got better.
100%.
Absolutely. So let's see let me check to see if there's any more comments. Let's see. Luke says, well, I say that score because there has been noise that Kyler may play. If he doesn't, I think it's more like 24-13 Niners. Yeah, I think honestly, even if Kyler plays, I just don't know how effective he will be. And if Colt McCoy plays, I'm not scared of Colt McCoy. He's got to prove it to me that he can. I mean, if we lose to Colt McCoy, I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, it's a backup quarterback.
But you know how it is. So like you see it, like backup quarterbacks come in. Like last week, the Jets. Was it Mike White or what is that his name? The guy who came in and won like AFC Player of the Week, didn't he get or something like that? And like it happens, right? Backup quarterbacks come in and
who the Jets play?
I don't even remember, but they I forget, but they won whoever they played. But yeah, I mean, Colt McCoy's he's a competent veteran NFL quarterback, and he's coming into a team that has weapons, right? So if they can put him in the right situation, running the ball and giving him some nice, short passes and getting the ball to the playmakers, he can win a game, So
I hear you. I would still be disappointed though if we lose to a backup quarterback.
Of course you'd be disappointed. You should be disappointed, right? But I'd be disappointed if you weren't disappointed.
Yeah. But the Jets, they played the Bengals, who are actually a pretty good team.
Right.
Bengals are a pretty good team, and the Jets won by 3 points. So any given Sunday, and I even heard that Mike White's jersey, cleats, and helmet were taken to the Hall of Fame. Okay. I think it was because the first rookie to throw for over, I think he threw for over like 400 yards or something ridiculous like that. So, any given Sunday, but I would hope our defense would be able to confuse Colt McCoy, pressure him, make him force turnovers. I mean, that's what I would hope. But as you mentioned, any given Sunday, and we both know that. So,
right, for sure.
Luke Luna says, David, how do you expose us if nothing is exposed but shutting down that offense? But we had Tart and Ward, so maybe harder now. Same philosophy, though, as far as approach. And I mentioned that earlier, that Tart and Ward, they played the first game, and now they'll be out the second game, unfortunately. So we'll have Tavon Wilson and Talanoa Hufanga. I think Kyler can take advantage of that. I don't know if Colt McCoy can.
But he's a veteran. I mean, listen, so who knows, right?
I agree. Niners sickness, 49ers beating the Birds. I dig it. Let's see. Looks like Blue True says the Cowboys backup quarterback won last week too.
Cooper Rush, I think, was it?
Cooper Rush. Who'd the Cowboys play? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Cowboys. Let's see. They played the Vikings.
Oh, okay.
And the Vikings, they're a solid team. They definitely have talent, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think the Vikings are better than their record.
Yeah. Mark Jackson says McCoy will dink and dunk the ball all the way down the end
That's
zone.
what I'm saying. That's what he needs to do.
And especially if he has a consistent running game, I think that'll definitely make his job a lot easier, but we shall see. Make sure everyone check out the Cardinal Rule. His social media links are in the description of the video. Make sure you also leave a thumbs up for this video. Had a blast having you on the stream tonight. Can't wait for the game. I'll be looking forward to your video at the end of the game, whether loss or win, just to see your thoughts on the game. But the floor is yours. For people that aren't subscribed to the Cardinal Rule, what can they expect from you from this season or from today and on?
Yeah. So, I do a couple different kinds of things. I do live streams, a couple times a week, but mostly what I hang my hat on are kind of my analysis videos. I'll do a game reaction, like 5 key things I observed in the game. But the thing that I really kind of built my channel on, and I think the thing that I probably do best are those deep dives. And I keep referencing the one I did in the Cardinals Run Defense. Check it out. I think, and if you haven't seen my work, I think you'll be impressed with the amount of work I put into it, and the editing and the analysis, and I do some deep dives in terms of films and stats, and really put in a lot of effort to try to make sure that when you click on my video that I'm not wasting your time.
Absolutely, and that's what sets you apart. That's why your channel has grown so much. And to definitely keep up the excellent content. I can definitely pull some things from your content. Like, hey, I need to add that in my video. I need to do that. But I'm telling you now, but you have great content, man. It just sucks. You root for the wrong team.
Right.
That, man. You got great content, man. I can't wait for the game this Sunday. It really is a toss-up. I haven't looked at the Vegas odds yet, but if the Niners are favored, I'm sure a lot of it would have to do that. Hey, we're at home, even though we haven't won a home game yet, but we are at home. There's uncertainty with Kyler Murray. But yeah, keep putting up the excellent content, man. I enjoy your channel. All your subscribers do as well. And it looks like Pioneer saying the best Cardinals channel out there. He says, and he's smarter than Grant. Interesting.
Okay, Grant Cohn? Is that that who you're talking about? I know I'm not a Niners fan, but I know Grant Cohn. I know is a really big you kind of guy for your
Yes.
Cardinals or Niners fans, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Either people you love them or you hate them. With Grant, it's one or the other. So
well, I appreciate Pioneer. He's a good dude. I've gotten to know him a little bit through some of CG's hangouts. So Thank you for the kind words. Appreciate that.
Payo Time says, great stream. Absolutely, man. Appreciate that, Payo Time. Mark Jackson says that was the best video, the run defense one. I'm going to have to check that out. And maybe I can give some pointers to Kyle Shanahan. Hey, check out this guy on YouTube. Yeah, make sure you check him out. But I appreciate your time here tonight, man. You have a good rest of your night. Great weekend. And I appreciate you for coming on to the stream, man. I appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity to hang out with you and your subscribers. It's been great.
Absolutely, man. Well, you have a good night. Great weekend. Tomorrow, I don't know about you, but it's a payday Friday for me. So I'll be happy tomorrow. And you have a great weekend, man. Thanks for coming on.
All right, man. You too. Thanks.
All right. Peace out. All righty. So that was the Cardinals Rule. Excellent Arizona Cardinals YouTube content creator. Check out his videos. Make sure you check out his social media info. The links are in the description of this video. His channel has really grown. And he does have excellent editing. He really does the deep analysis. Make sure you guys check him out. But yeah, I appreciate everyone coming on to the stream. I think the Niners have a great shot to win and get our first home win of the season this Sunday. Jimmy G and the offense played great. I think my most concern about the game this week is just the 49ers run defense. The Cardinals have a pretty good run game, and we will need to shut that down. Hopefully Kyler doesn't play. Hopefully D-Hop doesn't play. But even if those two do play, I don't see how effective they'll be. They're nursing injuries. We're also getting some guys back. Kittle, Robbie Gould, Jeff Wilson Jr. I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday. It looks like Mark Jackson says, great stream, guys. Great to have all the content creators in here supporting each other. Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to everyone who is in the stream tonight. Shout out to Blue True for the super chat. Shout out to Luke Luna for that super sticker. I appreciate that. Appreciate the donation, man. Let's see. Luke Luna says Warner gets his first pick this year if McCoy is dinking and dunking. He'll get a INT and someone will. Yeah, and I think that's something that we have to continue. We have to continue to get turnovers on defense. That obviously helps the offense. The offense has more opportunities to score. And the Cardinals offense is off the field, and that's what we want. We're definitely going to have to win the time of possession in this game. That's something that the Packers did last week. They had the ball 15 more minutes than the Cardinals did, and I think that contributed to their win. Corey Davis says, did you hear that Joe Montana says we should have drafted Mac Jones? Yeah, I did hear about that, man. But it's too early to tell. If you're basing it off of this year, obviously Mac Jones, he's starting in more games than Trey Lance. He was the more year one ready quarterback. He played at the University of Alabama. And Trey Lance played one game last year. So, of course, Mac Jones is going to look better in his first year. But, hey, that's Joe Montana's opinion. I respect him for it. I think it's too early to tell, though. So, but I appreciate that comment, KD. But everyone have a great rest of your night. I will have a pregame live stream Sunday, 11:30. Hopefully you guys can join me there. And also, of course, we'll have a post-game live stream as well after the game. Probably 45 minutes after the game, maybe a little bit less. But I appreciate everyone who contributed to the stream tonight, everyone who was in the comment section. I appreciate it. Luke Luna and Blue Shoe for the super chat. And shout out to everyone watching intheBay Facebook, intheBay YouTube, and intheBay Twitter. I appreciate it. Appreciate all you guys' support. And thanks for watching your boy Jay in the Bay. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll see you guys in the next live stream Sunday morning, 11:30. Unless there is some breaking news regarding the Niners. You guys know you can tune into Jay in the Bay for all your latest 49er news. Of course, I'll be updating you with that type of news daily. And the Cardinal Rule, I appreciate you, man. He says, thank you, everyone. It was great hanging out with you all. Same here. You have an excellent channel. You represent the Arizona Cardinals well. And I appreciate you for coming on to my stream. And everyone have a good rest of your week. And I appreciate you guys rocking with Jay in the Bay. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching Jay in the Bay.